Friend, you are like one in a chrysalis, longing to come forth, spreading your wings to the stars, but know that as a humble caterpillar has to descend into the darkness of a chrysalis to emerge into divine reality, so the soul, longing for the serenity and beauty of heaven, needs to sink even below the earth into the underworld of unexpressed passions and desires, but through the alchemy of the Mother Goddess, the soul is reborn. Come with me and join in the initiation of a candidate for the Rite of Rebirth of the Fellowship of Isis, one who also may through it attain a Magi degree in Collegium Isidus. I want you now to enjoy this, not to lose consciousness. Anoint your brow with water. Feel a silvery tingle around your third eye. Know that you are about to go back in time to our time, the time of the awakening of souls at the autumnal equinox. Go back in time to our time. Good. You are rising now out of your body into the sky, but it is a different sky. Iran is arising nobly in the east, watched by Gemini, pursuing Taurus, the celestial bull. The ram, shepherd of the starry flocks, is aloft, and you know that soon, faithfully following her beloved Iran, Tammuz, Adonis, Osiris, is the star of the goddess Ishtar, Isis, ever following her lover to rescue him when he sinks into the darkness of the west as spring comes. Come to the land of Era, Inishfoil. Know that elements of ancient languages are in the Gaelic. Some say tongue of the stars, Punic, even the language of ancient Babylon. You fly over Ireland and you look down and you see in the southeastern part a wooded valley. You come down and there are two rivers that join there and go southwards to the sea, and you come to the point of the two rivers, the great Y, and you see a wooded place from which shines a light. You sink lower and you see an ancient grey fortified castle, and it is from this castle that the light emanates. You sink still lower and you find the light comes from a temple of the goddess deep within the castle, 79 by 40 feet. This castle has within it 9 columns in the form of an L, and the columns look Babylonian in structure. The temple is the temple of the great goddess Isis of 10,000 names, but the Holy of Holies is dedicated to no less than the goddess Ishtar of the 8-pointed star, goddess also of the moon. There is a group standing round the well. The people are wearing beautiful varied coloured robes and jewels. The priestesses wear jewelled diadems and necklaces, but this is not from vanity, but because each jewel matters to them. They wear jewels of their sun signs, jewels that mean something to them. Priestesses carry magical wands tipped with crystals. The priests hold staffs with some precious stones set in them. Everything glitters beautifully. There are about 49 people present for this initiation. And as we look, we observe that one is standing outside all these people, veiled deeply in white, and we know this is the candidate for the Rite of Rebirth. Her name is Rose. The priest addresses the assembled company.
Friends, we are assembled in this holy temple to initiate a neophyte into another sphere of being. So do we present the holy mystery of the descent and ascent of the goddess Ishtar to bring back her husband Tammuz, held in the underworld. Honored scribe is the cycle pompous present to guide the soul of the neophyte to the awakening.
Here a scribe steps forward, holding a clay tablet representing the tablets of ancient Babylon. He addresses the priest.
Reverend priest, the psychopompus is without, with the neophyte.
The priest answers him.
Worthy guardian of the gate, let them be admitted.
Now we see a solemn procession. The candidate is led down long winding steps and faces the gateway leading into the holy well. The psychopompus speaks.
Behold the neophyte.
Does the neophyte desire to be admitted into the other life and so be born again?
None may choose rebirth for another, nor may the soul demand entry into the outer sphere without divine authority. Know that the moment of awakening into eternal life comes through deity, and no one may dare to declare that moment nor that hour.
Why then, O guide of soul, you come amidst us with your mysterious hooded cloak and with your rod of Hermes?
Here the psychopompus throws back his cloak and lifts up the caduceus, the wand of Mercury, with its two entwined snakes about the solar winged disk.
I would that the soul our guide may enact the holy mystery of the goddess Ishtar, she who holds the key of the spheres. The key of the upper world and the key of the underworld are in her hands. So shall this neophyte, concealed with a veil, choose to throw off the veil of division when the hour strikes for rebirth into eternal reality.
You speak with the voice of wisdom. Those who participate in the mysteries prepare themselves for the great awakening. Your request is granted. May the Hierophant invoke deity.
Here a beautiful priestess wearing green and blue and green robes approaches a holy deep well, long pre-druid. She gazes into its water in which candles are flickering. She gazes into the depths and says, I invoke the goddess Allah of the death. Here she bends down and draws water. Another priestess speaks. I invoke the goddess Dana and the god Manannan of the Western Isles. May the mysteries of Atlantis, which are those of Ishtar, be revealed. Here she moves among all the company with the other priestess and makes the form of a spiral upon every brow with these words. May true vision awaken in your soul. You hear their voices. May true vision awaken in your soul. May true vision awaken in your soul. Feel this tingling in your own brow. May true vision awaken in your soul. However, the priest remembers that it is a temple of Isis.
I invoke the goddess Isis and the god Osiris of Egypt. May the mysteries of Chem be uncovered.
Here a procession is formed away from the well, down the 9 columns of Eleusis, and they move through 2 pillars and form themselves before the great statue of Isis of 10,000 names. The Psycho-Pompous addresses the candidate.
After weeks or months of preparation, a snake, a bird, a butterfly makes its sudden emergence into a new sphere, leaving behind its safe egg or cocoon. The life cycle is a repetition that yet is never the same. It has infinite variety, a new expression for each creature, each newly formed atom. In spring the buds appear, the young birds are hatched from their eggs. Yet may autumn be regarded as the birth time of the soul.
The legends of the many-coloured land of the Western world, high Brazil, tell us that their spring is our autumn, their winter our summer. As the spiral of evolving life rotates, when one half sleeps, another awakes. Winter nights are the schools of the soul.
There are those who would dwell quietly on this earth and only accept the times of initiation at birth into physical life, and at its end in death. Any other shock of transition is not desired and therefore not needed. But there are others who, often not realizing it, awaken into another pre-natural sphere of being, while still retaining earthly consciousness. It is this sudden change of focus from the earthly to the pre-natural that is called initiation. And this initiation comes when it will, for it follows the flow of the spirit. It comes in eddies and tides. It strikes suddenly and leaves madness in its wake. It may even bring forth death. Yet this onset of a new form of consciousness is the most longed-for goal of those who follow the path of the mysteries.
Now there is a procession formed, and we realize that all are going to leave the temple of Isis. They pass now through the southeastern gateway and make their way in a great circuit down a beautiful garden with yew trees that they make now towards the north, and we realize that we are approaching an ancient abbey, beautiful, rich with the plants of autumn roses, fuchsia, many, many shrubs. And we approach this flowery place, the temple of Dana, of Era, and all that is beautiful of heaven. And the company pass round this, and they enter a lovely chapel. There are flowers within it because it is open to the sky. It represents our ruined earth that yet shows the sign of beauty. Still a rambling rose is round the northeastern high altar. The altar is a dolmen, and we realize that we are, as it were, in heaven. The priest Hierophant speaks.
Thousands of years ago was the epic of Ishtar and Tammuz, performed within the great temples of Babylon. Hearken then in your souls to this divine drama, that new life be born within you.
Now the priest speaks the immemorial words given by Hermes. He addresses the candidate with these ancient words of Hellas.
Thou shalt find to the left of the house of Hades a wellspring, and by the side thereof standing a white cypress. To this wellspring approach not near, but thou shalt find another by the lake of memory, cold water flowing forth, and there are guardians before it. Say, I am a child of earth and of starry heaven, but my race is of heaven alone. This you know yourselves, and lo, I am parched with thirst, and I perish. Give me quickly the cold water flowing forth from the lake of memory, and of themselves they will give thee to drink from the holy wellspring. And behold, you shall receive the armour of Mercury.
The priestess, who anointed with water, now addresses the company. And the candidate, friends, let us be transported in real time, which is all time and space, to ancient Babylon, and hear the tale as recorded within ancient clay tablets. The god Shamash, robed as a Babylonian, speaks and tells us the tale.
Know that the shepherd husband of the goddess Ishtar, Tammuz, spouse of her youth, was mortally wounded by a wild boar. He sank into the dark underworld, domain of the goddess Alat. There he bewailed his fate.
Here a young man performs a dance with another young man who appears as a wild boar, and they perform a ritual dance of slaughter. The young man, Tammuz, has obviously been mortally wounded and is escorted by two of his companions, who are also hunters, out of the ancient abbey. We know not where. They have gone, and as he was staggering, we assume that he was dead. All of us follow him now, and we pass through this beautiful garden, and to solemn music we begin to descend. We pass by a mighty incense tree associated by the Greeks with Hades, and we descend until we find ourselves in a dark yew-walk. We go down this dark yew-walk. Imagine yourself doing this following a funeral procession. However, we stop halfway. The young man has been carried away to the left, and we stare upwards at this break in the long walk towards heaven, a flight of steps where Ishtar stands. On our left, we hear the anguished voice of Tammuz, who has descended into the darkness of the wilderness.
Alas, I, Tammuz, who once lived in glory as a god in the upper world, with my beloved wife Ishtar, queen of heaven, am now cast forth into the lower world through the fury of a wild boar. Here I now find myself in dreadful darkness. I, who was once strong and manly, now crawl in the mud, covered with the pelt of an animal, with scales of a serpent, the feathers of vultures and buzzards. I flee from my slayer, I slay him. I am devoured, I devour. I am encompassed by my enemies, who hate and seek the destruction of my soul. My wrath is great against them. I have forgotten my own name. I have forgotten my wife. I have forgotten heaven. Yet in my heart a spark of life remains. I call for help.
The company now turn also for help. They stretch out their hands to the Lady Ishtar, who stands above the great flight of steps, the beautiful heaven of the garden. Behind her and with her are the company of the gods. She bewails her loss.
Great is my grief. I wail, I cry out. I, who am the Lady of Life, have lost him who is dearer than life. Heaven has lost its joy for me. And I look down upon those who crawl in the mud, covered with feathers in the dark underworld. Are they not my people? For I brought them forth.
The god Shemas, who like all the gods dearly loved Ishtar, tries to comfort her, but he also is heartbroken.
Ishtar called upon the priests and the people to unite with her lamentation on the death of Tammuz. For lo, the captive god was bound in the underworld, fallen into a magic sleep. Ishtar was like a wife bereft of her husband, a mother bereft of her child, a cow of its calf, a goat of its kid, a sheep of its lamb. The women wept for Tammuz and for their own lost loves. They wept in the place of the north.
Friend, I want you now to mourn somebody you love who has passed into the spirit world or vanished you know not where. The ladies weep. Let us weep for Tammuz, the beautiful flute player, the strong shepherd, for he has fallen into darkness and despair. He is lost to us, for he sees us no more, but is surrounded by fantasies and images of terror. We call on him, and he hears us not. We send him visions of the goddess, and he sees them not. Weep for Tammuz in his death-like sleep. Now all weep and call upon Tammuz to awaken from the dead. Tammuz, Tammuz, Let us mingle our tears with those of the Lady Ishtar. Let us make lament, for have we not lost our own fair loves in the dire underworld? For who is it that is captured by dark earth who ever returns? Rather do they crawl in the mud, clothed in the pelt of ravening beasts and the feathers of birds of prey. Rather let us weep for ourselves, for may we not too fall into this pit of darkness and forget our dancing and our song. Once more they call, but this time they call on Ishtar with love. Ishtar, 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 Ishtar,
At his departing away I make a lament. Oh, my child, at his departing away I make a lament. My Damu, at his departing away I make a lament. My enchanter and priest, at his departing away I make a lament. At the shining cedar, rooted in a spacious place, in Enna above and below, I make a lament. Like the lament that is a house makes for its master, I make a lament. like the lament that a city makes for its lord, I make a lament.
With the Lady Ishtar we make a lament. Tammuz Ishtar, Tammuz Ishtar, Tammuz Ishtar, Tammuz Ishtar, Friend, I want you, like all these of ancient Babylon, lament, meditate upon the mystery of death, face it, lament, and pray that the light of truth and love may illumine our sorrow. Only those who have left their bodies in astral projection, who have attained cosmic consciousness, who know, have no horror of death, but they lament to see the sufferings of others caught in this delusory place we call reality. Let us hope for the great awakening of all creation. A priest speaks.
So the dwellers in heaven lament that a soul makes the perilous journey into the sphere of earth. That the dwellers in earth rejoice that to them a child is born.
Here is a mystery. Tammuz has descended into earthly body, and the dwellers of heaven lament his lost soul into the realms of illusion. Meditate on this. Can all this world really be a dream in which our souls are tested, and most cruelly so? And yet how short is pain, how short the memory? Where is yesterday? Do we not die each night? Or do we die? Do we go to heaven and remember nothing when we awaken? Do the mysteries really bring us eternal reality during one night, between 2 seconds? Contemplate this mystery. Shemas speaks.
The goddess Ishtar could no longer rejoice in heaven while her people foundered in the underworld. So it came into her heart to bring back Tammuz, and with him all those who would re-enter heaven.
Ishtar was filled with this wonderful resolve.
Ladies, help me make ready for my descent through the spheres. I paint my eyes with stibium for my husband Tammuz, and I deck my shoulders with boughs of sweet-smelling cedar, my body with shining robes, and my head with a gleaming diadem for him.
The goddess turned her thoughts to the place where darkness is the dwelling, where the garments are the wings of birds, and she turned her mind and heart upon the underworld, and she began to sink through the spheres.
Now we all watch as Ishtar turns towards the heaven of the bright flowery temple and lifts up her arms in prayer and farewell. Then she resolutely turns her back and turns it towards the dark wilderness. But this is not so easy. Suddenly a figure, clothed in black, bars her way. He is hooded, and he holds a mighty key. Friends, we are gazing upon the goddess Ishtar, who stands at the top of a great flight of steps, leading away from a happy garden of paradise down into the dark wilderness guarded by a yew walk. She wishes to rescue her lover, Tammuz, and other spirits trapped in the dark underworld that we call earth living, and she regards as delusion and death. But her way is barred. The god Shemas speaks.
Finally, the goddess Ishtar reached the very depths of hell, and she stood in all her glory before the portal of Queen Alat's domain. She knocked. In an imperious voice, she addressed Nettie the Guardian, who stood by the portal.
Here, standing on the very threshold of the dark wilderness domain of the no less than the goddess Allah, the lion-headed one, Ishtar as goddess addresses this dark figure, Nettie, the gatekeeper of hell.
O gatekeeper, open the gate. Open the gate that I may enter. If thou openest not the gate so that I cannot enter, I will smash the door, I will shatter the bolt, I will break the doorpost, I will burst the panels, I will raise up the dead.
The Guardian opened his mouth and spoke. He announced it to a mighty Ishtar. Stop, O lady, and do not overturn the door until I go and appraise Queen Alat of thy name. And the Guardian told the Queen of Hell that the mighty Ishtar stood outside her portal.
Here, the Guardian turns away from the goddess Ishtar and approaches a dark figure who stands before two cypress trees, lower in the wilderness. We cannot quite see her. She is in the distance. Then we hear her voice. The Guardian spoke to the Queen of Hell.
Enter, my lady, and may Kutha rejoice. May the palace and the land rejoice in my presence.
And the Guardian was telling the Queen of Hell, and Allah spoke, tell the lady Ishtar that she may enter according to the law of my domain.
The Guardian went. He opened his mouth. Enter, my lady, and may Kutha rejoice. May the palace and the land rejoice in my presence. Not so easy was it to penetrate the dark underworld ruled by the mighty Alat. O Lady Ishtar, according to the law of this realm, at the first gate thou must needs surrender thy crown.
Now understand, my friend, that the jewels of Ishtar represent the holy psychic centers, the spiritual centers within the human body and with all beings, and that the crown center is that which unites us to deity.
Alas, must the light of my spirit be so extinguished? Where? Which shall I see the light is removed? My mind shall not know. Oh, take then my diadem.
Here Ishtar takes off her beautiful jeweled diadem of the goddess of Babylon and hands it to the guardian, who places it at the foot of a tree.
Pass.
Ishtar begins to descend the steps slowly without her crown until she reaches the dark yew walk. But the guardian, as she approaches to pass the yew walk, stops her again.
According to the law of this realm, to pass through the second gateway, must thy earrings be surrendered.
How then may I hear the words of the deities to heaven? Oh, but so must it be. My heart shall know.
Now we notice not only is Ishtar giving up her communication with deity, her crown, but removing her earrings, which represent psychic hearing, to hear the voice of the deities. She gives them to the guardians, who place them at the foot of another tree.
Pass.
Ishtar now passes through the yew walk and begins to descend down into this dark wilderness still further. Suddenly the guardian bars her way.
At the third gate, thy pectoral necklace with its amulets must be given.
Alas, must I lose my very heart's warmth? For love's sake, it shall be so.
Notice the heart jewel is love for all beings. Ishtar has love for Tammuz and all creation. But to give up the heart's jewel means one is only left with an obsessional passion for one person. One loses love for all creatures. She gives up her heart's jewel, her great pectoral, and Neti places it at the foot of a cypress.
Pass.
Ishtar now walks still deeper down this long, dark walk through the wilderness. The guardian once more bars her way.
The third gate has been passed through, yet there remains the fourth gate. Let thy bracelets be given.
We can even imagine the aura, the spiritual aura of the goddess being diminished.
Must I not have the power of magic? So must it be.
Ishtar gives up her bracelets, which adorn her hands. Up to now she's had the power of doing magic, of moving the laws of nature according to her divine will. She gives them to Neti, who places them at the foot of a tree.
Pass.
Ishtar moves still further down into the wilderness. The guardian speaks.
Stern are the laws of the goddess Alat, ruler of this realm. For those who have passed the fourth gate must yet, if they have the courage, travel deeper into the darkness. Thy jewelled girdle must be surrendered.
How may I continue my journey without my strength? Yet my will is set upon this quest. I give my enamelled girdle.
Now we know that we humans are utterly weak. We have no real power at all. We know not the time of our death. We are weak. Gods and goddesses are strong. Ishtar, for love of her husband, removes her girdle. The guardian winds it round a slim tree, bamboo. The guardian, once more, lets her pass.
Pass.
Now we face two trees on the left, two great cypress trees, forming an entrance to some mysterious realm. On either side stand two lion-headed guardians. They wear the mask of the lion, the body of humans.
Those who would pass through the sixth gate need but give their anklets.
My anklets? Lose my winged feet and crawl on hands and knees as do the humble inhabitants of this muddy place? Yet I choose to be as they are.
Here Ishtar is giving up her power of astral flight at will. A goddess can attend any place. She may rise to the spiritual realm, and if her body is tortured upon earth, she vacates it. So she is giving up the power of flight. She gives her anklets to Neti, who places them at the foot of the left hand dark cypress. And now Ishtar falls upon the ground, and she crawls now as an earthly woman, dragging herself through the dark and terrible gateway to the underworld.
O Lady Ishtar, thou now standest before the seventh gate of the underworld. Many turn back here who have passed all other ordeals. Here thou must abandon thy veil.
My veil? Protection of my innocence? Ah, but love needs no such protection. Take my veil.
Here Ishtar throws off the white and silver veil that flows around her, representing the protection of her aura, for no human beings have the white aura of perfect protection. None could touch a goddess with rape or murder, but now she's a hopeless, helpless woman. She falls upon her knees. The guardian allows her to proceed through two other high trees into a dark grove, and these trees, 7 in number, reach upwards, so one cannot see where they end. The guardian addresses her sternly.
Pass. Let feathers be thy garment, O woman, and mud thy kneeling place.
Now Ishtar wraps around a cloak of tatters she finds upon the grounds, and is lying prone upon the ground. Shemas addresses the company from outside the grove.
Immersed was the goddess Ishtar in the infernal regions. Those in the upper world wore mourning. Papsukal, the servant of the great gods, tore his hair before me, the once happy Shamash, clothed now in mourning, full of sorrow. My tears flowed in the presence of Ea. I made lament, and these were my words. Ishtar has gone down into the earth, and she has not come up again. Love is lost in heaven. And the gods hearkened to my lament, and they said, the only remedy is the return of Tammuz and those who follow the Lady Ishtar. For without these, Ishtar will not return to us. And now came a great wonder, for Tammuz began to awaken when he beheld Ishtar, though he knew her not. And Ishtar could not truly behold Tammuz in the darkness, yet she still loves him.
Now we observe a dark, enthroned figure, totally robed in black, through which glimmers a lion mask. And crouching at her feet is the dark figure of Tammuz, apparently dead. But suddenly he began to awaken from his dream of what we call earth love, as he beholds this unknown woman.
Who is this woman that fills my heart with love? She has no beauty about her, no light, no jewels. Rather is she like unto myself, and all those about me, crawling in mud and clothed in skins and feathers and eating the dust. Praise be then to the terrible goddess Alat and her domain and all within it. for I would choose to be in the dark underworld with this woman than dwell in the upper world. What care I for her name, who know not my own, whose love is that in heaven?
Ishtar suddenly raises herself slightly and is gazing upon Tammuz, though she knows him not by his name.
What so terrible then is this underworld, but rather a place of beauty that holds this man within its power? Praise be to the goddess Alat. Blessed is this place and all within it. Gladly would I dwell here with this man.
And Shenaz spake,
Know that when Ishtar and Tammuz gave their praise to Alat and to her domain and all her subjects, they found favour in the eyes of the dark goddess.
now we hear the voice of Allah, once heard distantly in the darkness. Blessed are they who love my dark earth. Blessed are they who love my children, who wear skins and scales and feathers. Wise are they who fear me not. Beneath my black veil of dreams is my true being, the primordial mother. Know that all light springs from darkness of the womb of the cosmos. From me are born all stars. From me are born all planets and the beings thereon. Know that I am the goddess of all. And yet I dwell as mother in each humble creature. So despise not the humble cat, the bird. Derange not the atoms. Harm not my world. For my wrath is great, but it is the wrath of a mother who defends the true good of each being. Ishtar, the goddess of light, of mind, of thought, she who discriminates, who thinks, may penetrate my darkness, but in so doing she knows herself as my daughter.
As Alat spoke these words, Ishtar heard them, and she remembered her own name, and knew herself as Queen of Heaven. And she was greeted by Queen Alat as her younger sister. And Tammuz, when he heard the words of Alat, knew himself as the shepherd king, who holds the crook, the protector of the fearful, the starry music maker, astride in the sky of night.
Pause for a minute, my friend. I want you to feel yourself as son and daughter of Alat, the primordial mother. Be as Ishtar, as Tammuz, and awaken. Feel this light within you penetrating like a silvery flow. As standing under a waterfall, you sparkle with heavenly light of the goddess Ishtar, and within your heart is the love of the mother, like a red rose, like an inner fire. And when these two powers meet, you gain the great awakening. The guardian now returns to Ishtar her veil. She has attained the initiation of earth of a goddess, as a human woman may attain initiation of heaven.
Lady Ishtar, take thy veil. Tammuz, take thy crook.
Ishtar puts on her veil, and Tammuz accepts his crook. They now rise to their feet, their hands lightly touching, And I want you to think of any twin soul, anybody you love, and imagine yourself holding hands as you are about together to ascend into the light. For who wishes to ascend into spiritual light without those they love? You may be surrounded in your mind by many people and many animals and many creatures, and these you may help to ascend, but always remember that you return to the darkness at night and at winter, for in the darkness is the place of the womb of creation. Without it there would be no light. Slowly Ishtar and Tammuz leave the grove. They pass through the trees. They slowly ascend the way they had come, and each time Ishtar begins to have her aura irradiated with psychic and spiritual powers and gifts.
Lady Ishtar, take thou thy anklets.
She does so.
Pass. Lady Ishtar, take thou thy girdle.
She does so.
Pass.
We slowly follow them as each time the guardian presents Ishtar with her gift.
Thy bracelets are returned to thee, O Lady Ishtar.
Now Tammuz, as we pass through the yew walk into the light of the autumn sun, presents her with a ring, the ring of the stars, which you see as the Pleiades.
Take thy carnelian ring.
Ishtar accepts the ring which Tammuz places on her finger. Now the whole company follow Ishtar and Tammuz as they approach through the garden to the beautiful flowery abbey, which is almost forgotten in the darkness. As they approach, the guardian speaks.
Pass.
Once again she is given her pectoral ornament with its amulets, and finally she receives her crown. Tammuz approaches with his magic flute, the flute of Iran. He presents her the flute. She accepts it. She speaks words of love to him as she accepts his ring and his flute.
Oh, thank you for giving me back all the ornaments that I have cast aside. Thank you, my love. Thank you.
Now they gradually approach up through the 7 spheres, and they approach the abbey.
Welcome to thee, Ishtar, my bride, my wife. Welcome to thee, our goddess of the spring. May love now reign once more in heaven. I am the flute player, and I welcome thee with my enchanted flute of lapis. When I play, the birds sing, and the birds wave, and the trees wave in the breeze. When I play, the stars dance in my measure. I bestow upon thee my carnelian ring of eternity, for love and wisdom and beauty are here in our upper world, and reign in Queen Alet's domain.
A lady speaks, and as Ishtar and Tammuz slowly ascended step by step through the 7 spheres, those who choose to come with them follow them. But those who choose the ways of earth stay with the goddess Alat, for not everyone wishes to leave this life for heaven, and they also are blessed. And at last they reached the beautiful realm of the abbey, and they entered therein. Now Ishtar spake.
Yet what are all these things without the life to enjoy them? May the dead rise, may the sleepers awake.
At this point, the company leave the abbey, and the candidate is guided once more back in solemn procession to the temple of Isis. Imagine them. They slowly walk back. The candidate is no longer the Lady Ishtar. She's left her beautiful diadem upon the dolmen altar. She is once more the candidate with the white veil about her. They slowly once more enter the temple of Isis, past the 9 pillars, but now they do not go to the high altar. They pass the well and enter into the Holy of Holies, the chapel of the goddess Ishtar, who is shown with her jewels about her at the high altar. For though the mystery has been enacted, we do not know yet if the candidate has received true initiation of some sort during this ceremony. So the priest addresses her and asks her, have you attained? He asks her, has she attained the mystery of Ishtar?
In the name of the goddess, I initiate you into her mystery.
The priest has adjudged she has passed. Now, the candidate faces the high altar and makes her profession, which is in the ancient words of Eleusis, the experience of the true initiate.
Out of the pure I come, pure queen of them below, and Eucles and Euboleus and other gods and daemons, for I avow me that I am of your blessed race, and I have paid the penalty for deeds unrighteous, whether it be that fate laid me low, or the gods immortal. I have flown out of the sorrowful, weary wheel. I have passed with eager feet to the circle desired. I have entered beneath the lap of the queen below, Desponia of the underworld. I have passed with eager feet to the circle desired, and now I come a suppliant to holy first Feronia, that of her grace she receive me to the seats of the hallowed. Happy and blessed one, thou shalt be God instead of mortal.
Our souls are filled with joy as we accept an initiate in the ancient words used by thousands of initiates at Eleusis near Athens, and yet wherever this mystery is performed, this is Eleusis, this is Babylon, this is the wonderful temple of Isis in Philae, and this is in Polygal Castle. Now each priest gives thanks. The priest Hierophant gives thanks to the goddess Isis and the god Osiris, who also rose from the dead.
In the name of the priesthood of the goddess, I bear witness that this neophyte is an initiate in the mystery of the goddess.
And he gives thanks to Isis and Osiris.
I give thanks to Isis and Osiris.
As guide of souls, I bear witness that this candidate is an initiate in the mystery of the goddess.
The scribe now speaks.
As keeper of the records, I bear witness that this neophyte is an initiate in the mystery of the goddess.
Thanks be given to the goddess Dana and the god Menanon for vision restored to us from the depths of the Atlantean Ocean.
Thanks is given to the goddess Isis and the god Osiris for the wisdom brought to us from the Sphinx and the pyramids.
Thanks be given to the goddess Ishtar and the god Tammuz for the beauty that is bestowed upon them from the stars.
Priestess Hierophant now raises her hands in blessing. May you go forth with the divine blessing. A procession once more is formed to ascend into the castle, but they do look now like spectres from some other world. We've seen a play within a play. We've been in ancient Babylon, in an ancient grove. We've been to the dark underworld. And now we're on a temple of Isis. Surely we're back to everyday life, but we are not. Friend, you don't belong here. You come back to your own place and time. Drink a glass of water to bring it properly back. I recommend source material, Babylonian liturgies, edited by Maspero, Fraser, Hook Sanders, from the Goddesses of Chaldea. All this play was taken from ancient Babylonian tablets, so you've had a genuine Babylonian experience. I'm Olivia Robertson, of the Fellowship of Isis, Clonigall Castle, Enniscorthy, South Ireland. Write to us at any time. May the blessings of the goddess Ishtar and the goddess Alat be with you now and evermore.